Chaos and violence broke out Friday in Union Square Park, where thousands of people gathered, mostly young people, after social media influencer Kai Cenat announced on Twitch that he would be giving away free PlayStation 5s and gift cards to his followers. The NYPD ended up arresting at least 66 people in all this mayhem, including 21-year-old Cenat, who's been charged with inciting a riot.
Well, NYPD Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry joins us this morning with more on what happened. I know you were there following this incident, and thank you so much for being here, first of all. But let's just talk about this, because influencer giveaways can bring thousands of people together. This is not new, but this one grew so fast, so big, and also, unfortunately, was violent in certain aspects of it. How did this all happen?
First and foremost, good morning, Bianca, Dan. Thank you for having me. This young man, this influencer, I believe he saw that day how much influence he really has.
Yeah.
He put out a couple of posts that he was going to give out items to his followers, and it grew, and it grew fast. Initially, we had a report that there were 300 people out there. We had officers out there, and then it just grew exponentially. Thousands of young people came out. We had to call a level 4 to get enough police resources over there to help address the crowd. But it became very dangerous very fast. And most importantly, we can't dismiss some of the attitude. We can't dismiss the attitude of some of the young people who are out there destroying property, destroying vehicles. You know, these things have to be addressed. Yeah,
which is always unfortunate in any kind of situation like this. The mayor did address the media and said that he suggested that their outside agitators were possibly involved. Is that something that you followed up with and that you've seen ring true?
We're looking at all possibilities. We're looking at every investigative lead. But as I said, it was dangerous. Whether outside agitators or young people, it was a dangerous situation. It was not the place to bring that sort of activity. Our young people deserve to come out in the summertime, see the people they admire, and have a good time. It should never, ever reach that level, the level that it did on Friday.
One of the PR companies that's involved here, AMP, said that they did not intend for it to go this way. They wanted it to be a positive situation. Is there any indication that Kai Cenat knew that this was getting out of control? I mean, as he's sending it out and as he's watching some of this unfold?
I don't believe that there was. I don't believe that was the intentions of the company or the influencer. But when you have a following of that magnitude, there's certain things you have to do. One of the most important things you could do is plan with the NYPD. We could have addressed this 3 or 4 days in advance. We could have had enough police officers out there. We could have barriers out there.
Because you put I mean, that's what happens. They put the barriers go up. It's an area where there's kind of self-contained. You can keep the general public out there. I mean, that's something the NYPD is used to.
Absolutely. We've handled events of this magnitude in the past. But it's just good when we have the notice in advance and we're able to work with the company.
I've seen you so many times out there when these situations happen. I remember during George Floyd protests, you're out there with the microphone in the middle of these crowds. This was different, though. This was so many young people in particular crazed about the possibility of getting this PlayStation 5. Do you blame them for losing their sort of attitudes there? I mean, how did this happen? I mean, what could have been done differently?
I think what could have been done differently, and first and foremost, our young people are very intelligent. They know right from wrong, all right? And I do believe that some came out there with that attitude and the spirit of doing wrong, because our young people, I'm not going to let them off that easy. They're smart. The way we handle this in the future is by just giving notice to the NYPD, putting the proper messaging out there, making sure we have the right equipment out there. We handle events of this magnitude all the time. One of the first things we recognized when we got there, when I arrived to the scene and I was able to pull my leadership team together, we recognized that this was a crowd of mostly young people, and we had to be very delicate in how we handled it. Our objective was not to arrest young people. We didn't want to see any young people hurt. We wanted them to comply with us and leave. And a lot of them did not do it. We had to go after the influencer and get him off the set and out of the park. That way the young people will calm down and they'll start to leave.
Chief, let me ask you this, though, because when we look at the bigger picture and the damage that was taking place, the hours that the NYPD had to be down there to try to control this, what is the cost of all this happening, something like this happening?
It's a large cost. I don't have the exact dollar figure, but when you talk about the property destruction, when you talk about the personnel hours that the department had to use and to calm the situation, is a significant cost with it. And ultimately, someone's going to be held responsible for it.
I know the mayor kind of talked about this is an issue with social media and kids being raised by social media, asking where are the parents in this. But there was an article coming out with one of the parents' mothers who spoke out saying that you cannot blame parents. This is a blame of society of people who use their guns to harm rather than to protect. Well, what do you say to a mother who's saying something like that?
Well, what I say to that is, the first thing I did when I arrived to the scene was I called my house to make sure my daughter wasn't out there because she's of that age. I had to know where she was at. There were a lot of parents who called the police department. There were a lot of parents who came to the scene. This is the help we're looking for. We're not looking to place blame. But when things of this nature happen, we all have to step up to make sure people are safe. So of course, I have to look at parents and say, hey, we need your help. We don't want to touch your children. We don't want them to go to jail. We want you to come be mom and dad, grandma, uncle, and grab the young person and say, hey, it's time to go.
Where's the blame lie now then? Because I know we're talking about charges for this streamer. How do you see that unfolding?
Well, the influencer was arrested, so of course he'll have to deal with the district attorney in the court system. But ultimately, there are a lot of people who had property damage. There were people who hurt, and I'm sure they'll be looking for restitution in other ways.
Still looking for some individuals here. Any update on that? We know that there were people who were jumping on cars and things along those lines. And additionally, we know that you guys also put up some new technology with the drones. How did that play into it?
Absolutely. This is still an active investigation. We have an overwhelming amount of video showing people committing crimes out there, destroying property and hurting people. Those people will be arrested and brought to justice. In terms of our drones, we did bring our drones out that day. Our drones help us in terms of the vantage point. Where I was standing, I couldn't really see everything that was going on. It looked like a crowd of 500 or 1,000. That park had about 5,000 or 6,000 people in there.
Wow.
With our drone technology, we're able to not only go up and take a look at what's going on, it'll help us identify people, it'll help us send a message out to the crowd, which we're able to do. We're able to use our drones. The drone has a pre-recorded message, and we'll tell people this is the NYPD, leave the area, or whatever message we choose.
First time you've used it in that kind of situation?
No, we've used it before. We used it on during the Pride events in late June. We've been using our drone technology on the beaches to look out for people in distress, sharks, other things in the water. So it's still in the exploratory phase with the drone usage. But you know, through the use of technology, we're going to keep this city safer.
Well, we appreciate that you do that day in and day out, and we appreciate you coming on to speak about this incident as well.
Thank you.
Chief Jeffrey Maddrey, thanks so much for joining us.